In 2061, the world faces an apocalypse situation as the sun rapidly starts expanding, making scientists believe that if it continues to happen, it will ultimately engulf the Earth within the next 100 years. As the future of mankind becomes uncertain, all nations gather in the United Earth Government platform to come up with a solution to save the planet and maximize the chances of humanity's survival. The experts propose the Wandering Earth Project that aims to migrate the planet almost 4.2 light years away to another solar system. 12,000 powerful Earth engines are built in different regions to propel the entire planet, while a navigational platform called the International Space Station is created to monitor the interstellar journey. A team of professionals, including a Chinese astronaut, Liu Peiqiang, and 100 of other pilots and engineers travel to the International Space Station to safeguard the journey of the Earth. As the project begins and Earth's rotation is halted, everything is frozen on the planet. Several tsunamis kill a huge fraction of the human population and cause the extinction of various species. To save the remaining human race, many underground cities are built near the engines that will serve as the refuge for the next 2,500 years until the Earth finds its new home. As people are directed to move to the underground cities, Liu Peiqiang's father Han Ziyang and his son Liu Qi also accompany them after Peiqiang has left for the mission. 17 years after the Earth leaves the solar system, Liu is now a grown man, working as a trainee mechanic, while Peiqiang is set to return home before the Chinese New Year. One day, Liu and his foster sister Han Dodo sneak out of their school and request a criminal to arrange specialized thermal suits for them so they can now go onto the surface of the Earth. After gearing up and using Han Ziyang's stolen clearance pass, they eventually get outside of the frozen city of Beijing. After finding his grandpa's transport vehicle, Liu uses it to roam around the city when they see many people mining the mountains to arrange fuel for the powerful Earth engines. Meanwhile, at the navigational platform, Peiqiang's colleague, a Russian cosmonaut, Makarov, offers him a bottle of vodka, which he smuggled onto the station as a retirement present. But as Peiqiang refuses to drink, he hides it in his spacesuit, saying he'll use it for his farewell. After the discussion, Peiqiang performs his last few tasks before handing over the charge to his successor. Later on, his entire team thanks him for his 17 years of selfless service and offers all the best for his journey back home. Makarov also says goodbye to him, hoping they'll meet again on Earth in the next few years. Meanwhile, as the Earth approaches Jupiter, it faces a strong gravitational spike from the planet, which changes its course a few degrees, leading to a troublesome situation. To counter the incoming threat, disaster warning protocols are released across the globe. On Earth, Liu and Dodo arrive at a checkpoint, but are detained for using private property as the transport belongs to UEG. In prison, the duo meet and befriend another inmate named Tim. After a while, Han Ziyang arrives to bail out his grandchildren, but is imprisoned for trying to bribe the warden. After being sent to the same cell, Ziyang scolds both of them for stealing his pass and coming up to the surface without his permission. As they argue, there's a massive earthquake due to Jupiter's gravitational spike. As the result, several Earth engines fail, and there's an alarming number of casualties due to their collapsing infrastructure. After the Earth changes its course and is feared to be colliding with Jupiter, soon there's chaos everywhere. Liu and the group take advantage of the situation and break out of prison to rush back to the underground city. After a while, the emergency protocols are activated, and it is announced that the rescue mission will be the top priority to save humans that might go extinct if the collision happens. Worried about the situation on Earth, Peiqiang tries to contact Liu and asks the Moss, the AI controlling the space station, to direct them to the nearest refugee center. After he releases the order, all personnel on the space station are required to go into hibernation to conserve energy on the platform, as scientists plan to abort the Wandering Earth project. Meanwhile, Ziyang's transport is stopped in the middle of the road and is requested by a rescue unit under Captain Wang Lei, who orders them to join the mission of transporting a lighter core to Hangzhou, where it will be used to restart the Earth mission. The team soon arrives in the frozen ruins of Shanghai, where Captain Wang Lei is informed that many other rescue teams got compromised due to the disaster. As they move through the lost city, Ziyang reminisces the good times, telling everyone that this place used to be his home once, where he enjoyed the best times of his life. Meanwhile, at the space station, everyone is forced to go into hibernation, but Peiqiang is worried about his son's safety. On his orders, Moss once again connects him to Ziyang. When Peiqiang finds out about the rescue mission, he calls Captain Wang to request to let the kids go to the refugee camps, but Lei tells him that they will still need Ziyang's help in driving the transport. After learning about his order, Liu refuses to leave without his grandfather. When Peiqiang tries to convince him to go, he also argues with him while holding him responsible for his mother's death. It's revealed that Liu's mother was suffering from a chronic illness when things went downhill. as only one person could accompany him to the underground city. Pei Qiang allowed the doctors to remove his wife's life support systems, knowing she won't survive anyways. But Lei Yu could never forgive him for his action. Soon after Pei Qiang's call, there's an extreme turbulence, making the transporter stuck in the crevice, while all operations are terminated. Frustrated, Pei Qiang once again tries to contact Lei Yu, but is forced to hibernate as the gas starts releasing into his chamber. Meanwhile, on Earth, as the transporter gets stuck due to the landslide, Captain Wang Lei orders them to abandon it and continue on foot while taking the lighter core with them. After coming across the Shanghai Tower, the team decides to climb up the building to get across. Most members manage to get to the top floor, but Xiang, along with another member, Gang Zhe, and the lighter core get stuck in the elevator. As people on the top lose control of the pulley due to the aftershocks, Gang Zhe manages to deliver the lighter core and pushes Xiang away, hence saving his life before getting crushed by the elevator. Later, Xiang, who is stuck inside the building, freezes to death, while his grandchildren are forced to leave with the team. Wang and his teammates try to console the grieving children, but they cannot accept the death of their grandfather and keep arguing with the team. As the situation gets intense, Wang Lei orders Leo and Dodo to go back to their homes, while the rest of the team resumes its journey to Hangzhou. After a while, Pei Qiang and Makarov wake him up from hibernation, when Pei Qiang finds out that the navigational platform has changed its course, which might compromise the communications on Earth. After explaining the situation to Makarov, Pei Qiang shares his plan to move to the central module to get things fixed. The duo leave for their small mission after breaking the airlock. Meanwhile, on Earth, Leo, Dodo, and Tim come across a crashed cargo plane with an intact transporter inside, and decide to use it for their journey back home. When they get inside the vehicle, they also find a distressed surviving engineer named Li Yi on board. Li then helps them start the transport, but they receive a message from Captain Wang Li, requesting someone for help after the underground city Hangzhou gets hit by the magma and eventually collapses. Lei Yu unwillingly agrees to do it after realizing it's crucial to saving hundreds of lives, and decides to help the rescue unit in transporting the lighter core to Hangzhou. Soon, another member of the rescue team freezes to death, which frustrates the rest of the team, leading to a heated argument with Wang Li, as he still prioritizes the lighter core's safety over his team members. Distressed, Zhou Qian shoots at the lighter core to destroy it, as she thinks it's the reason for her colleague's death. After a while, as everyone stands there in hopelessness, Lei Yu and his friends join them, but Moss broadcasts a message informing them that the mission has failed, so everyone is allowed to go home. Lei Yu does not want to give up at this point, so he decides to try one last time. He requests the team members to resume their journey to Sulawesi, so they can use the remaining lighter core to restart the engine. Despite his grudge, Lei Yu teams up with Wang Li, while Pei Qiang and Makarov continue to float toward the central module, but Makarov gets killed by the security systems. Although Pei Qiang manages to get into the central module, and he tries to overrun the evacuation protocol, he's informed that it's no longer possible due to insubordination. As he furiously reacts to the orders, Lei Yu and his team continue to restart Earth's engines at various locations. After eventually arriving at Sulawesi, they manage to restart all engines, but learn that their combined power of the engines can no longer maintain the Earth's trajectory, so they will still be on course that will lead to the collision with Jupiter. As Pei Qiang tries to find a solution, he learns that Moss has already thought of every possible solution, but nothing is going to work, and the Earth will soon enter Jupiter's atmosphere and start the disintegration process. Unable to find a way out, Moss releases the final broadcast informing everyone that the Wandering Earth project has failed. As the Earth has missed its last hope, Moss will be turning toward the Helios project, which aims to build an interstellar ark to save the human population from extinction. It is revealed that human embryos, seeds of different important crops, and basic DNA maps of all plant and animal species will be stored in the ark, until the space station finds another favorable environment to revive life. Knowing they are destined to die, people start running around in chaos, and everyone is advised by Moss to go back to their loved ones so they can spend the last few days with them. Pei Qiang is also directed to go back to the hibernation unit, as there's nothing left to be saved. Distressed, he requests the system to let him make the last call to Lei Yu, but he can't reach him due to the unavailability of communication systems. On Earth, Lei Yu remembers his last conversation with Pei Qiang, where he told him about Jupiter's environment, which is mainly composed of hydrogen. Lei Yu thinks of the idea to intermix the atmosphere of the two planets to ignite Jupiter. He rushes to share it with Li, who reveals it's a possible thing to do, and the resulting shockwave will be powerful enough to push the Earth away. Although there is little chance of success, they still decide to go ahead, thinking it's better than waiting for death. Lee explains that they'll need to shut down the engines to gain control, and to direct the entire energy to a single nozzle that will generate a plasma beam capable of traveling to Jupiter's surface. As the final step, the team will require the lighter core to reignite the engines all over the globe before the combination shockwave will pull the Earth away. After everyone is assigned their duties, the team scatters to their relative positions, but learns that the entire staff is already planning to leave as the evacuation protocols are in action. As Lei and Tim drive to the reaction chamber, Dodo keeps making calls requesting help, but no one listens as people believe the Earth is destined to be destroyed within the next few hours. Lei eventually arrives at the reaction chamber, but there's another earthquake because of Jupiter's gravitational spike, and many are buried alive under the buildings. Soon, Dodo, along with Li Yi, succeed in getting out when she finds Pei Chiang's number, which she uses to call him on the navigational platform. After informing him about the ongoing situation, she shares Lei's plan of igniting Jupiter, but Moss reveals that the plan was already presented by some Israeli scientists, but it's impossible to execute. Determined to make one last try, Pei Chiang calls UEG, eventually convincing them to request the rescue units to arrive in Sulawesi so they can help the group in their attempt to save the Earth. As Pei Chiang insists that they must take the risk for the sake of their children, UEG releases a broadcast, but informs Pei Chiang that it will be on their will whether they comply or not. Meanwhile, Dodo also releases a message telling everyone about her exhausted team and urges them to join hands so they can ignite Jupiter before resuming the voyage to find a new home for the planet. Realizing it's the last hope for mankind's survival, many teams positively respond to the request and decide to join Wang Li's rescue team in Sulawesi. Pei Chiang also monitors the entire situation and redirects all engines to combine their power, while Lei eventually manages to get the reaction chamber ready before getting pulled out by Tim. Another severely injured member does his job and lights up the main power line just before his death. Soon, the rescue teams join Dodo and Wang Li in inserting the pin to restart the engines, but they still fail to reach Jupiter's explosion range. Pei Chiang proposes that the navigational platform has over 300,000 tons of fuel, which can be used to create a plasma beam capable of reaching Jupiter's surface, but Moss disagrees with this plan. Pei Chiang has no other choice, so he makes the selfless decision, using Makarov's vodka bottle to light up the fire on the platform. As he gets ready, he receives the green signal from UEG, allowing him to proceed as they have chosen hope instead of wasting the last chance at humanity's survival. Pei Chiang makes a call to the rescue teams informing them about the plan, but Lei protests against his decision of sacrificing his own life. Pei Chiang, who wants a future for his kids, apologizes to Lei, saying he must go on to the most important mission of his life. After tearfully saying goodbye to his son, Pei Chiang takes the pilot seat to move the burning space station into the plasma jet that ultimately ignites Jupiter. Everyone is advised to rush back to the underground cities to survive the resulting shockwave. The teams get to the elevator, but Dodo decides to wait for Lei. Soon the buildings collapse due to the shockwave, and Dodo, along with Wang Li, gets stuck under the concrete. Lei eventually takes Dodo out, but Wang decides to stay back and releases his last order to the team, ordering them to live on. Although Lei, Tim, and Dodo get hit during the shockwave, they manage to survive. 3 years later, the trio lives in the underground city of Beijing, where life has started to thrive again. Lei is considered a hero for saving the Earth, and is assigned the duties of a junior driver on his grandfather's transporter while humanity resumes the Wandering Earth project. Although scientists think it will take 2,500 years and up to 100 generations, humans are still willing to do it and find a new home for the generations to come. If you enjoyed that recap, I got a good feeling that you'll like this one too. Click on the video on your screen for more.